guys, so my name is Jessie Jobson and I am a fourth grade math teacher. I have taught all the fourth grade subjects as well, but currently focused in on math. One of the things that I've been reflecting on a lot lately is actually my first year of teaching. For those of you that are in your first year, I'm praying for you, especially right now during COVID. This year is insane. The thing is, the first year is always hard. For those of you that have made it through your first year, especially if you stuck it out, power to you. That first year, it's something. By the time I finished my first year, I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay with teaching. I wasn't sure if I made the right choice at all with the field. But I spent the summer and I did a lot of regrouping, a lot of reflecting, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I found and reflected on that made a big difference between my first year and my second year. So one of the things, well, really the big focus for today's video is transitions, because that was the time that my kids seemed to fall apart. We would be fine during the lesson, we could get that done, but the second we had to go from me being the direct instruction to all of a sudden the kids have to move or do something, it's like they had never seen a rule in their life. So I've come up with a couple things that I ended up trying my second year and ended up loving, and just want to share with you to see if they help you as well. So one of the first things that I did was we called them the three Qs, but they're actually not all Qs, but it's calm, quick, and quiet. All I needed for this strategy, because here's the thing, I had no money whatsoever. Still have no money, but I definitely had no money there then. So I wasn't about to go and start a classroom management system that involved a lot of time or money because I didn't have them. So everything I'm going to show you is pretty inexpensive. This is the only one that really cost any money, and even that you could probably get donated. So what it takes is 2 containers. I've got these. These actually came with a science kit that we were given. And so because I don't teach science anymore, I was able to have them. So I've got a bunch of them. But before I had this, I had a bucket from the Dollar Tree. It was just a regular container. It was meant for like food. And I used that. But you just need an empty bucket. And you need something small that you can put in it. So some options might be beads. These are beads. You can find beads from the Dollar Tree. You can find them from any craft store. You can also check like at Goodwill, and they might have them. So you could use beads. You could use buttons. I have a big collection of buttons. I actually had these left over from a baby shower that I threw. It was button themed. So I just have a variety of buttons. These also came from Goodwill. The Dollar Tree has these springs used for decoration. They're glass bead things. I'm not sure what they're actually called. I should probably figure that out. We just called them glass beads. They've got these. This is maybe 3 bags worth, so $3. And I got lucky, and when I inherited this classroom, it came with all these glass marbles, which, side story, my niece, when she was little, she loved them, but she called them sprinkles. And so she'd come in and she'd want to play with her sprinkles, and she would throw them on the floor and make the biggest mess. And then she would go around and pass out her sprinkles to everyone. It was adorable. But this is what I used personally because I had it. I didn't have to buy anything, and everything else just kind of came over time. But the way it works is the kids are getting a marble per transition, per section, per transition. So if they were calm when they lined up, they got 1 marble. And that would just go right in their bucket. If they were quick, that would be perfect. It would go right in the bucket. If they were quiet, they would get one as well. If they earned all 3 marbles for their transition, they actually got a bonus marble for doing it all correctly. That meant they did exactly what they were supposed to do. So they had the potential to earn 4 marbles in one transition. And they voted on what they wanted the reward to be, because the goal was to go all from here to here. Once they had transferred all of my marbles from one bucket to the other, they got their reward. And so I think the first time what they wanted was a movie day. Don't give rewards that are going to cost money. Don't say, we're going to do a pizza party. Pizza parties are great, but here's the thing. Your kids are just as excited with movie and popcorn from the microwave. They really are. Like, they're just as excited with eat with your friends for the day at lunch. Sit where you want. A little bit of extra recess. Think free. Don't spend all your money trying to bribe your kids. I did that my first year, and all of my extra money was going towards that. And honestly, it didn't really make a difference. And I was spending so much money. Don't do it. Think free. Give them 4 options to pick from. Let them vote. So let's say it's a pajama day, or we wear uniforms. So maybe it's a jean day for our kids, or wear a hat to school day, or a movie day, or extra recess, something attainable that they can get that isn't going to cost you a lot of money. So that's what they get if they do their transition. Their goal is to try to fill it up. So every time they would line up, I'd be like, all right, well, we got calm, we got quiet, but we didn't get quick today because we weren't very fast. That was one of the issues I had. Whenever they were quiet, they moved like molasses. They were super slow. I don't know why. But that really helped. So that was one of the big things that I did. Calm, quick, and quiet. So those are my transition things. Another issue that I've found, so I'm going to put my marbles back before I make a big mess. Another issue that I found is that depending on the group, because I've had, I don't even know how many groups I've had at this point. I've had 8 or 9 different groups at this point. But depending on the group, these marbles might be your perfect solution. Or you might have kids that they're not being bad when they line up, but for some reason, they cannot turn off their mouth. They just have to talk. And it's not normally rude or disruptive talking. It's normally pretty social, but they just can't stop talking. And it makes walking in the hallway painful. I remember being so embarrassed when I would take my really chatty class down the hallway. And it wouldn't be that what they were saying was so bad, but I would have my administration walk by and it just looked like I couldn't control my kids. Because whenever I'd say, okay, shh, no talking, shh, stop talking, they just kept going. So, one of the things that I started doing was I started teaching them songs. Now, if you're not a singer, it could be a chant. It could be so for me, I did songs for multiples, especially teaching math. That was perfect. And so I might teach them a song for counting by their fours. If you don't want to take the time to teach them a song, especially if you're an upper grades teacher, they know how to skip count by twos, they know how to count by fives, and they should know how to count by tens. Those are things that you shouldn't need to be teaching them, they should already know. And so they can just count as they go. You could ask questions like, what is 4 plus 5? What is 5 times 3? You could ask questions as they go, and they just have to respond to you. If you're keeping their brains engaged, they're not having all of these sidebar conversations because they're focused on answering you. And if they don't know it, they're trying to think about the answer. And so I found that giving them a task as we went down the hallway really worked. Now, there are parameters you have to do. If you're walking by classrooms, they can't be shouting the answers at you because it's going to be distracting. But I found that if you talk about volume and giving the answers, they look super engaged. But honestly, you kind of get brownie points when admin walks by. Because what they see is, well, look, for me, it was, look at Jobson. Her kids, not only are they learning math in the classroom, but they're even doing it in their downtime. Like we're just walking the hallway, but the teaching's still going. And so I really liked math songs. I also liked, when I taught all the subjects, I liked grammar songs. I didn't have a ton of time in my day for grammar, and so teaching grammar jingles really helped. If you're looking for grammar jingles, if you look up Shirley Grammar Jingles on YouTube, you can find videos of them. You can also look up Shirley Grammar's jingles being written down. They're great. They're short and fast to the point what most of them are. Some of them are pretty lengthy, but they're great too. And so there's a lot out there. If you're doing science, you could have like a song about the water cycle or a song about the types of clouds. There's tons of songs out there. Pick one, teach it to your kids. Let their mind focus on that when they walk, and you will be super thankful. Okay, so those were my favorite two, especially for when we're lining up or walking in the hallway. One of the things that I found my first year for transition. Hold on one second. My dog is eating my book. Say hi, Theo. This is Theo. He's with me today. He's eating my textbooks. That's not good. Okay. All right. One of the things that I found when I was transitioning in the classroom, especially for like small group transitions, is that we lost a ton of time going from one spot to the next. And so whenever I would talk to my team about it, I was told pretty much that I needed to work on the routine, practice the routine. And I am not knocking that advice because it's true. You've got to practice your routine. But for me, part of practicing my routine also meant I needed something tangible, something that gave parameters for the kids, because me saying move quickly just didn't have enough weight. The kids didn't know what my expectation was for move quickly, and so they didn't really move fast enough. So, what I found was that I would have a practice round and I would have the kids move as quickly as they could in a not normal setting. Like it wouldn't be in the middle of a lesson. Our only job that day would just be practicing this transition. So we'd practice it several times. And then once we got really good at it, I would put a stopwatch on the board and I would project the stopwatch and we would see how much time it took us to do this perfect transition. Mind you, I wasn't teaching. We were just practicing switch. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, rotate. And then we would switch. But once we got that down and we had that stopwatch time, let's say it was a minute and a half. It took a minute and a half for everyone to move because that's all we were doing was practicing the one skill. They got really good at it. So then whenever we were transitioning in the classroom, I would say, okay, so I know that we can do this transition in a minute and a half. I've seen it before. You guys have done it before. It was wonderful. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So then every time we switched, I wouldn't just say switch, but I would put a countdown timer on the board, starting from a minute and a half, going down to 0. Sometimes it would be like the numbers actually counting down. Sometimes it would look like the little rocket with the fuse burning, and when the fuse burns, the rocket goes off and there's fireworks. Something like that. But something that the kids could visually see. Okay, this is what it means by move quickly. But it also is something that the kids felt that it was attainable and tangible because it's not a time I made up in my head. It's a time that they saw that they could already do well. And so they didn't have to worry about it. And so they did really well with that. That was definitely beneficial. Sorry about that. I paused because once again my dear Theo was eating my book. All right. And lastly, kind of along the same lines, were bathroom breaks and the water fountain. For bathroom breaks, I did something very similar to what I did for our small group rotations, where we practiced what a perfect bathroom break would look like. We talked about it, we went through it, and then I said, okay, we're going to go out and take a bathroom break. And we're going to go as quickly and efficiently as we can. And I set a timer on my phone and I just timed how long this perfect bathroom break took us. I do use bathroom monitors in the bathroom to make sure we don't have too many people going at once and to make sure that they're not just talking and standing all at the sink. But that's a story for another day. But we did that perfect time on the timer. And then after that, moving forward, I would say, okay, well, I know that we can do a bathroom break in 5 minutes. I know it because I've seen it. So it took my bathroom breaks from being 15 minutes to just 5. It wasn't so bad. I could give them the bathroom breaks because I knew we could do it in a reasonable time. So we did that. Water fountain. Whenever we'd come in from recess, especially in the warm months when the kids were outside and running around, they were hot and they wanted water. And because they were so thirsty, they just wanted to live at that water fountain. Well, here's the problem. I've got 30 kids, and there were 2 other classes of 4th grade kids with 30 in them too. And we had approximately 3 or 4 minutes to get all 90 of those kids through the water and into the classroom. And that doesn't work well. So what I found is that if I stood at the water fountain, and eventually as a job I passed on to the kids, but starting out I did it, I would stand there and I would say WATE spells water. Go. And then they knew they had to move. And there's 2 water fountains. They both stepped up. If you didn't get the tall one and you wanted the tall one, you either took the short one or you left the line. But you didn't get to just stand there and wait. You got whichever one was available when you were the next up in line. And I would count. WATE spells water. Go. And it worked so much better. It gave them the structure. They knew what they were expecting. They knew when they had to go. I didn't have the kids that took 10-minute water breaks. For the kids that only wanted to drink through WAT, that's fine. If you finished early, you can leave early, but you couldn't stay longer. So those are my tips and tricks that I've thought about that really made a difference for me when it comes to transitions. And hopefully they're helpful to you guys as well. Thank you for watching this video. Remember, if you like this video and want to see more videos like it, please hit that subscribe button. You can also give me the thumbs up. It lets me know if what I'm talking about is what you're liking or interested in. If you have any questions or anything you would like to hear me talk about instead, please feel free to leave a comment below. All right, thank you and have a great